All right. Let me just talk to you quickly about some of the things that are going on right now. You are seeing the Dow down another almost 400 points today. We are looking at a problem with growth, a problem of credibility, and also, you know who else is having a tubing stock market right now? Russia. Russia's stock market has tanked because the Russian people believe they're going in for war. If there's a war, that is never good for people, especially long run. Let me give you a couple of other stories here before I explain a few things. Fluctuations in the prices of building supplies are now complicating the price of new homes. The price of key building material is more unpredictable today. This is written today. This is not from 2 years ago. The cost of building materials is more unpredictable today than it has been since the end of World War II. This should worry home buyers and renters alike. A recent analysis from the National Association of Home Builders examined the recent uptick in the cost of building materials, which climbed again 1.5% in December. The overall increase driven largely by the rising cost of lumber. The price of softwood lumber has increased nearly 45% since September. We're back at the same thing. I'm trying to build a little art desk. I have waited 2 months now for plywood. Plywood. I keep calling. No, I'm Mr. Beck. I got it. You want the plywood? I got it. It's scheduled to come in next month. And I keep saying, this is ridiculous. It's plywood. It's not even good wood. It's plywood.
Please let me give you money.
Yeah.
I feel like I have that conversation with people all the time now. It's like, please.
Yes.
We have this. We had for the Texas freeze that happened last year.
Yeah.
We had a water pipe break and it ruined our whole first floor. And there's this one like faucet that is just we need, and it's been on order for a year,
forever,
a full year.
Yeah, Stu, I'm looking for vents. Like I and my children have fallen into our vents on our floor because can't get the vents.
You didn't go through the floor, did you? Because that's a moment in a man's life where when you break through the floor, you realize you've had too many.
Tim was there, and he actually stepped right where the vent was supposed to be, wasn't looking, and he went all the way down to his crotch. Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
You don't want that.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And we...
No more grandchildren.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Wait a minute. We just can't get them.
Yeah.
We can't get them. It's insanity. Okay, so now they're saying, remember, price of lumber was bad, then it got okay, and now it's up 45% since September again. So you have prices going through the roof. You also have Goldman Sachs chief economist saying it's going to be difficult to sustain wage gains of 5% or 6% without causing meaningful high inflation. What has this president been saying? What do you have to do? What you want to get people to work? What do businesses do? What's his solution? Pay them more. Guess you have to pay more. Here's the problem with this. It's another accelerator or another log on the fire of inflation. As your wages go up, then there's even more money in the system again, chasing the few goods. And so prices keep going up, and it's called an inflation spiral. So what do? You have to give a wage increase, which then causes prices to go up, which then causes wages to go up, which then causes prices to go up. And you get into this never-ending spiral. When Joe Biden said yesterday that he's not changing anything, his course is right. He is on the wrong course, and I believe it is intentional. If you see what the banks are talking about. I just saw a poll today. The poll today that came out, the American people care about the economy. They care, what was it, Stu? They care about the economy. They care about jobs. They care about COVID. What were the others? Do you remember?
I don't have the whole list in front of me, but those were the top ones.
Okay, so there was no mention of global warming, no mention of social justice, and no mention of governance and equity. No mention. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay? That's a luxury problem to have, and Americans are running out of luxury. So now the banks have come out. This is a story that just came out yesterday, the banking strategies. Environmental, social, and governance issues are becoming increasingly hot topics within the banking industry as institutions adjust their strategies and practices to have more positive ESG outcomes. As part of a highly regulated industry, banks have long addressed governance issues. In recent years, they've increasingly focused on social issues in response to the Community Reinvestment Act. Notice it's not because they care. It's because of the Community Reinvestment Act, putting particular emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now banks are turning their attention to the E in ESG, environmental, as they begin to understand their role in becoming carbon neutral, as they begin to understand their role in environmental considerations that are a risk within their lending and investment portfolios. So why is this a risk? This is a risk because if you have everybody who is an elite and all of these banks saying to somebody who has a big carbon footprint or doesn't agree with social justice or doesn't agree with, you have to tell me who I will have on my board. If you disagree with those things, then you have a bad ESG score. Let me give you another example. If Joe Rogan hadn't been paid $100 million for 5 years of podcasts by Spotify, he'd be gone today. He'd be gone. If he was making $5 million a year, he would be gone today. But he's making $20 million a year, which means that company is on the hook for $100 million over the next 5 years. I can guarantee you, Joe Rogan is smart enough to hire really good attorneys to make sure that's a no-cut deal. You don't leave your open podcast where you're making all kinds of money to go to a company that puts you behind a paywall. So your influence in some ways decreases, or you have a chance of that if you're behind a paywall, and go with a company that you know already is pretty woke and say, oh yeah, I'm going to be fine. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, don't worry about the 5 years. So they have to pay that $100 million. Now, what just happened? Last night, who's the hippie? Neil Young. Oh, I hate this guy. So Neil Young, who's been screaming about, freedom, smoke dope, speak out against the man, has just become the man. Yesterday, he came out and said, I want Spotify to drop all of my music, which is going to be heartbreaking for so many. They can't play any Neil Young song. That is not the point of what he did. What he did was, I am sending a message to all of my other friends in the music industry. Me doing this doesn't mean anything. But if you decide to follow an unwritten ESG program and say, I will not do business with Spotify either until they get rid of Joe Rogan, then the company has to decide. And I can guarantee you, they will decide over many artists instead of one. This is the way the left works. And this is the way ESG is working, except it's going just to be organized. It's just codified. And it's being codified right now in our banking situation. And you have another company, I just talked about this a minute ago, another company in Battle Creek, Michigan, the Kellogg's company, the cereal people. When I sit down to a bowl of cereal, I think, I wonder what their carbon footprint is. And do they have enough women? And do they have anyone transgender on their board? Because it doesn't make my Lucky Charms taste as good. I think it's healthier for me to eat this frosted flake bowl of cereal if they have a good ESG score. They came out yesterday, and the only reason why they're doing it is all of these companies are doing it. They are all saying, we're in, don't leave us behind, because the world is changing. And it's changing to an ESG score. And I'm going to tell you right now, stop doing business with anyone who is on the ESG bandwagon, if at all possible. Stop doing business and tell them. Kellogg's should be right now, if we actually cared about things and we knew what we were facing, people all over this country would say, I'm going to call Kellogg's today and I'm never going to buy a box of cereal from Kellogg's ever again. Period. Even if I have to eat the actual grape nuts, and I don't mean the grape nuts in the box, I mean, I'm going to go actually eat the pine cones off the tree. It's going to take millions of people to do it. But we are capable if we know what it really is. The same thing with your banks. Have you taken your bank and moved your bank account to a local bank yet? If not, why? These are the easy things to do. And if you're not willing to do the easy things now, you are not going to be prepared to do the hard things that may come later. You have to take the easy steps first. Are you doing business with MasterCard? Do you have a MasterCard? Cancel it today. They are one of the leaders of ESG. Cancel it and tell them why you're canceling it. These are really, really important things. If you can't cancel it because you owe them money, you call them and say, hey, by the way, I owe you money, but you're not going to see another dime from me except what I owe you. And I'm going to pay you, but the minute we're done, I'm cutting my credit card up today. You'll never see another dime from me. Now, I want to show you, I'm telling you here about inflation, and all the experts, the ones we are listening to again, the experts that are on TV telling us exactly what's coming and not to worry, those same experts were the ones that told us inflation wouldn't happen, it'd be transitory. Now they say, oops, that was a mistake. You think? All these people that are wrong over and over and over and over again, we don't hold responsible because the media doesn't hold them responsible. The media should go, you know what? You were on my show a couple of times for like 2 years, and you kept saying, oh, that's ridiculous. Doesn't look like it's ridiculous. I don't think I'm going to book you again. They don't do that. So we just keep listening to the same experts. Stop it. Stop it. You're smart enough to figure it out. Let me show you what the experts are doing behind your back, what they're actually planning for. Stu, would you agree with me that we are headed towards times where the financial markets could see havoc?
Headed toward them? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I just want to make sure that we could head towards a time pretty quickly where the financial markets all around the world are crashing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly.
I'm going to give you a story, and I'm going to read it to you verbatim from Reuters. This came out January 25th. Israel on Thursday led a 10-country simulation of a major cyber attack on global financial systems in an attempt to increase cooperation that could help it minimize any potential damage to financial markets and banks. So they got together, the IMF did, our good friends. The IMF got together, and they brought all the central banks, all of the big players, including government officials from all over the world, and said, okay, let's just say that there's a financial crash, and part of it is a cyber attack. Okay?
Okay.
What do we do? The simulated war game, as Israel's finance ministry called it, and planned over the past year, evolve over 10 days with sensitive data emerging on the dark web. The simulation also used fake news reports that in the scenario caused chaos in the global markets and a run on the banks. So now you not only have a cyber attack, but you have what they deemed as fake news that caused a run on the banks and chaos in global financial markets. Now, I can tell you right now that if we started seeing massive disruption, I would be telling you right now, and I am telling you right now, take your money out of these big banks. Put them in local banks where the money stays local. Make sure you have some cash on hand, et cetera, because bank holidays are going to come. I'm telling you that now. If this scenario starts to play out, you will not hear my voice. I guarantee it. You will not hear my voice. And I will be banned and deemed somebody that's very, very dangerous for the global financial market. I am doing fake news and I'm misleading people and everything else. It's why you need to know what is coming. It's why you need to buy the book, The Great Reset. Please know it. You have to have a hard copy of it as well, because it's the only book literally in the world that explains all of the news that you're reading. It explains everything that you're seeing. Go to glensnewbook.com, order it. Kindle version you can get right now. Please get the Kindle version and start reading it. Time is of the essence.